Hello, people of BookTube. My name is Juan. I am just one reader, and today I wanted to briefly discuss the Rabbitback Literature Society by Pasi Ilmari Jääskeläinen. I am pretty sure I just butchered the author's name, but what can you do? This book is, in my opinion, a really great read. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite books of the year so far. I gave it a solid 4.75 on Goodreads, or at least in my mind. And it's right there at the top of my list. Along with Magic for Beginners by Kelly Link. I really enjoyed it. It was very quirky and whimsical in some aspects of it, and it was really fun to read. But it also had this super dark quality, very wintry, very melancholy and nostalgic, and just dark, poignant, raw, real. And I really enjoyed how these two very contrasting qualities were mixed in, and altogether they were just really enjoyable. And I think this was a very rich book. The basic premise or plot line of the story is we follow our protagonist. She is a substitute teacher called Ella Milana who really enjoys literature. She's a young woman in her mid-20s, and she comes back to her hometown in Finland, which is called Rabbitback. Here in this town of Rabbitback, some mysterious things have happened in the past decades. There's this society that is very secretive and very exclusive, which only has 9 members at the moment. And it's called the Rabbitback Literature Society, and it's run or led by this author called Laura White. And Laura White is like the equivalent of J.K. Rowling. She is this fantasy writer who is originally from this town, and she just became super famous and successful and kind of an iconic, mysterious figure. So, she and the rest of the members of the society gather around in her house, this creepy old classic manor, and it's just so wonderful to read about these kinds of things for me. It felt very luscious and sort of gothic, and I don't know if it's the writing or just the setting of being in this country, Finland, and the way that everything is described. It just feels icy cold and magical, and definitely some parts of it felt very fairy tale-esque, and I enjoyed that, of course, obviously. So, like I said, this society currently has only 9 members, but it's supposed to have 10 members in the end. And everyone has been waiting for the next chosen one who is going to complete the circle. And obviously, this is not really a spoiler because it happens very early on in the novel and it's really predictable. But our protagonist, Ella Milana, is chosen, and she becomes a member of this society. And from the inside, she starts finding out a lot of things that she should not be finding out. And the story just goes from there, and it's so interesting. Now, I really enjoyed this book because it also was very readable and very accessible. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of mystery and thrills, page-turning action, but it was never plain. It was never like your typical YA just entertaining type of read. I don't know if I would classify this as YA or adult fiction. I'm not sure. I think that because of the themes and some of the language and some of the stuff that happens in here, it is definitely more adult. And I think that was very interesting because sometimes it reads like a YA, but at the end, I would classify it as adult, I guess. Now, something that I also really loved about this book is that I felt like it draws a lot of elements from books that I really adore, like Narnia, like The Secret History, Neverwhere, The Shadow of the Wind, The Neverending Story, The 13th Tale, many books that I really enjoy that. Also, this one, We've Always Lived in the Castle. Even the setting of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, it just had a lot of elements that I felt like, oh, I kind of feel like I've tasted this somewhere else, but in a different mix, and I really enjoyed it. So I would actually really recommend it. I was incredibly pleased by it. The cover is beautiful and the inside is really beautiful as well. I will be talking more about this one in my next wrap up, but I just wanted to let you know that I really enjoyed it. And I would only say that you should be a little bit cautious if you're expecting this book to be super literary and like very deep literary fiction. I don't think that's what you're going to find here. I think this is more of an entertaining but still very beautifully written book, and with a lot of magical realism and magical qualities that people like me definitely enjoy. Um, Now, I do think that there's a lot of stuff in here to be discussed. I don't know if I have the time to say it right now here, but for example, there's this part of the book where they play a game called The Game, and the game was actually a pretty good metaphor, in my opinion, of what the psychoanalytical treatment is. I don't know if the author did this deliberately or that's just how I read it, but I thought this book was really insightful and really touching and really dark in many places. So this is a weird book. I don't even know how to classify it. What genre does it belong in? I don't know if it's fantasy, magical realism, kind of literary fiction, or a mix of all three. Adventure? No, not adventure, but maybe a mystery. I'm not sure. I don't care. I just thought it was really excellent. I gave it 4.5 or 4.75 or something, but it was definitely one of my favorite books so far this year, and I hope you will pick it up. And like it or not, I hope we can discuss it and have a conversation about this one.